Hello, I'm Shirandir. Today we're just going to talk about the bandhas, the locks, these things that help us be a contained container. I'm sure you've met people who just seem to like leak energy and wild, and they have these huge peaks of energy and then they crash out. And part of that is they haven't developed sort of cap, a way to keep it all inside, or at least like most of it. The word bandha literally means lock. The three major ones are Molband, Uddiyana and Jalandhar Bandh. Molband is root, mol, root, band, lock, root lock. Uddiyana, not quite sure what that means, but Uddiyana Bandha is the diaphragm, and then Jalandhar Bandh is the neck lock. So with neck lock, really depends on where you're at. There's varying degrees. You want your chin to be pulled back a little bit, and ideally down. You just feel this sort of extension in the back of the neck, a slight pull up of the skull. But for you, maybe your chin's parallel. It's really, we don't want to force anything because that leads to injury. We don't want to hold out of our body's natural current situation. You know, with everything, once we learn to honor where we're at currently, it makes it far easier to step forward with grace. So Jalandhar Bandh, neck lock. Uddiyana Bandh. There's a few schools on this one, the diaphragm. Some people squeeze it when you're full of breath and empty. Other schools are only when you're empty. Other schools are only if you have Molband pulled and neck lock, then you work with Uddiyana Bandh. I've played with it each way. It's a little bit harder when you're full of breath, so I can see why they would teach not to do it, because it's like you're trying to squeeze in on this thing puffed up with air, the diaphragm. So I definitely get it. But we'll start a little bit of a practice. It's just a slight squeeze up of the rectum and your genitalia, the sex organs, in that area in between perineum. You can just focus there. And then a slight pull in under the belly button. Now, this is actually three different locks, technically. If you go back to the tantric traditions, a lot of modern practices have just combined the three and called it Molband, but there's technically one where you're just pulling the muscles of your sex organs, one just your anus, and one focusing at the perineum, and one the navel center. So I guess there's four. So it's kind of combining all of those. We don't want to squeeze too hard, though. We're not like squeezing our butt cheeks or squeezing our low spine or squeezing our hips. It's just those internal muscles. And Uddiyana Bandh is just pulling the stomach back as far as you can comfortably, and that locks it. So now close your eyes. Let's inhale deep. Exhale. Now pull up like you're stopping gas. Pull up on the muscles of your sex organs. Pull your navel center, and now pull your diaphragm. Inhale. Let's try that again. Exhale. And if this doesn't come easy, that's okay. Pull your sex organs, rectum, navel center, diaphragm. Just really pull up on that lower triangle. Inhale. Exhale. Hold the breath out. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And relax. If you want to practice isolating those, there are both, if you search in my videos, a first chakra and a second chakra kriya, and those are to work to isolate those muscles, to go a little deeper there. So the neck kind of happens passively. We almost always have neck lock. The other two will be a little bit more intermittent. You can always pull the Molband practice into almost anything. Whenever you're holding a position, just do a slight pull on the pelvic floor, and you'll feel how sometimes it helps you get into the posture a little bit more correctly. If you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out. That little practice we were doing a second ago, holding the breath out and pulling, something you can do just sporadically if you get a second. Close your eyes. do it a couple times, come back. It gets easier with practice. Thank you for watching. Satnam.